Inspector video summary. Inspector Valise in Ridgefield, New Jersey. We are on a fire escape that consists of one exit platform. Let me see if I got this. Oh, there we go. Consists of one platform and a staircase. It's very simple. This fire escape shows evidence of original hardware. As you can see, you can still see a lot of the square head bolts and nuts. Some of them are not, and some of them are. So this fire escape could use some spot paint. You can see some of the connections were backed up by bolts, but obviously they whoever did this didn't care to properly seal the connections, so rust wouldn't build in between the connections. As I go down, I want to show you some of the areas that need to be rebolted because of the original hardware. As you can see, this whole post is still have the original hardware. Same with the Eclipse. This is what's holding the staircase, and it has some original, some looks like a new bolt there, original hardware. So all this needs to be rebolted and clean, primed and sealed with a 50-year silicone on both sides. Now, in order to shut this opening here, this gap, they put this channel, and the channel obviously wasn't sealed, and now we have some rust jacking. So you can see it's starting to open up, and some places you can see, you know, right through, like so. And on the staircase, the treads, you can see the buildup of rust in between the connection. Some of them have bolts, so you can see. If I can catch it, like, it's hard to see with the sun, but if you can see, they have new bolts, because it looks like this fire escape was originally all welded, and with time they saw they need to put clips and bolts. You can see, if you look at the stringer, I'll try to capture it better from the bottom, but you can see from here, some of the stringers don't have bolts, so that was an afterthought when they realized there was a problem with rust jacking, and the separation of the thread and the stringer started to occur. Somebody started bolting some of these threads down. What they missed was that they did not seal, they did not clean, seal, and prime and paint it in between in order to avoid rust jacking. Water still penetrated this fire escape, and it's doing a good job at getting it all rusted. As you can see, the plate, the stringer, and the angle that they put here to close the gap between the stringer and the wall is completely blown out. Okay, we continue, every single step it's been compromised with rust. In some areas you can see a complete separation, and a welt is still holding it together. You can see the separation in between the stringer and the thread. As we continue down, well, let me tell you what you need to do here. We need to take the steps out completely. The threads need to come out completely. They need to be clean. They need to be primed. They need to be shut down with silicone, 50-year silicone, sandwich in between, and then rebolted. The silicone, the prime is going to avoid, it's going to prevent any water from coming through, and that will solve that problem. So same thing here with the angle and the stringer. That needs to be open, and that needs to be separated. That needs to be clean. That needs to be sealed, sandwiched together, and then rebolted in different areas. That way it's shut down completely. So again, you can see there's a lot of separation, and these are welds mixed with rust that's keeping these threads in place. But as you can see, there's a lot of damage done to these threads. Now what we do is come down here, ground level, and we can see the footing. The footing, it's nothing that we can do with the footing right now other than change some of the original hardware, but it's sitting down on a fairly new pavement or setup that they have here. It's a fairly new, and what needs to be done down here is to we need to tar the footing, and that will help preventing any more or any rust that might come to, accumulation of snow and rain, at least 6 inches up. That way that will protect the fire escape from getting rusted due to water, ice, and all of that. As you can see, we got a stringer that is clean of bolts, no bolts at all in this one section. Like I said, that the bolts were an afterthought. This was an old welded fire escape. Then we got posts that need to be rebolted because you still have original hardware. As you rebolt this, you open it up, clean it, seal it with 50-year silicone, and sandwich it in and rebolt it. See, we have a lot of issues with this clips. Clips are some of the clips are in really bad shape. They need to be replaced, and they need to be rebolted, clean, primed, and sealed. There's a lot of rust jacking on these clips, and the ones that do have like this one for example, the ones that do have bolts, they did not seal it, so it's holding it together. But whoever did this work did not care for sealing in between, and now you just have a really bad thread a really bad threat on this fire escape. Same here, and same throughout the fire escape. You see some rust jacking through there, and there, and there, and up there, like that. You can see, and some of those don't have bolts, so those very soon will start to create an emergency repair situation. Let's talk about the frame. The frame is an all welded frame, and in all the corners they need to be bolted. They need to be drilled, put a bolt in there to reinforce each one of them. Same with both of them. Both sides, they do have a rod that is coming throughout through the building, through the wall, but it's a rod that has been placed there, welded. So we need to. The solution for that is to drill right through the bolt into the support bracket and marry it with a bolt. Same thing with this one, the back, on the tail, and on the nose. Same thing with that one and that one. Again, it doesn't need a full paint job. It could be spot painted. So again, this fire escape needs to be, you need to change original hardware, you need to clean connections, and you need to seal connections in order to have to be fully refurbished. You got two choices. You can spot repair and load test, but again, most of the threads are really gone, so I would say this fire escape needs to be fully refurbished, and to avoid a load test. Again, the authority, the city official in charge of this address would require spot repairs and a load test, but in order to avoid that, in lieu of that load test, you can do a full refurbishment of this fire escape and avoid the load test. Remember, the load test is required every 5 years. By doing a total refurbishment, you would avoid a load test for the next 20 years, 20 to 25 years. So again, the recommendation on this fire escape is a total refurbishment, cleaning up of all connections.
Welcome to Firescape Services. We provide inspections and certifications, repairs, and load tests to remove violations in your area and nationwide. So whether you're an inspector or whether you're somebody, you have your own home, you have your own building, the first thing is the law is very clear. It must be structurally sound and must be kept painted. So is the fire escape painted or is it not painted? And does it have more paint than rust or more rust than paint? So I can just look at this fire escape and say that I have evidence right now that there's more rust than paint on this fire escape. So immediately, if you were to call an inspector out here, the law doesn't allow him to pass this fire escape simply because it has more rust than paint. And structural means that if the fire escape is 50 to 75 years old, when any inspector is looking at it, he's got to see some evidence of maintenance. And maintenance means that I have to see a change in bolts, I have to see a change in rivets, I have to see some new hardware. Because when I go up to a fire escape, I see nothing but original hardware. That hardware is 50 to 75 years old. It's been out in the weather 50 to 75 years, and it's just impossible for not one of those rivets, one of those bolts to be changed in 50 to 75 years. And whenever that occurs, what I have is a fire escape that somebody's been constantly painting, but they've never done anything structurally to it. So now that makes the entire fire escape pretty much suspect. So now I have to be careful as to what I'm looking at to make sure that the structural now, on especially the major structural connections, are in good order. Thank you for watching our video. Please call us today at 800-649-3333 to discuss your fire escape issue with a live inspector or schedule an inspection in your area today.
But right now, firefighters are taking down the ladders and rolling up the hoses. But earlier in the night when they pulled up, there were flames coming out of the side of the building. Firefighters say it was one of the scarier moments because when you pull up to a building and you see children and mothers hanging off the side of the fire escape, smoke swirling around them, they said that's scary, scary stuff. They got up there, they got the ladders up, and they said nobody got hurt.
The fire escape, there was 3 or 4 people hanging off the fire escape. They couldn't get off. They were just on the fire escapes. I had people hanging in the fire escapes at the rear of the building, and on this side of the building, we had a bunch of people on that fire escape.
About 50 people were displaced inside this building. However, firefighters say there's good news tonight. It looks like everybody will be allowed to go back in except the one unit where the fire was in. They said that's good luck to them tonight. I'm Bob Wilson on the scene of Bridgeport, News 8.
The smoke, the flames, and the frightened faces, all in a firefighter's line of duty. But Chief William Hitchcock remembers the night it wasn't the fire that almost stopped him.
Oh, I was scared to death.
But the fire escape that broke underneath him.
Where the railing just came away from the building.
And our investigation found across Massachusetts more unsafe fire escapes. Rusty, deteriorating, crumbling, broken. And what state officials didn't know, the system they set up to keep fire escapes safe is also falling apart.
The potential ramifications are disastrous.
So let's look at this one. This expert ironworker is licensed to build, maintain, and inspect fire escapes.
So then over here?
For months, we examined dozens of them with alarming results.
Looking at this today, would this pass inspection?
No.
In dormitories, at theaters, at homes, and apartment buildings.
Rust is actually eating away the metal of the fire escape.
Correct.
And the bottom line?
It'll get weak and then eventually it'll fall.
This one has rotted connections. This one missing bolts, twisted metal.
Would the stairs come down?
No, never come down.
This one a broken tread.
So how dangerous is it for the people inside this building?
This fire escape is definitely going to put somebody either in the hospital or it's going to put somebody in a cemetery.
Fire escapes are so critical. The state building code requires they be certified for structural adequacy and safety every 5 years. But our investigation found that safeguard is simply being ignored. Here's proof. We chose fire escapes at random in Boston, Somerville, Cambridge, Worcester, and here in Quincy. We checked building department files,
But there's no fire escape certification.
Not in this file.
to see if building owners had submitted their mandatory inspection reports.
There's no certification in this one either.
Right.
Bottom line, not one we checked in Quincy had been certified as safe. And the Director of Inspectional Services admitted because of staffing shortages, the city has no idea how many other fire escape owners are breaking the rules.
And as a result, do you know how many fire escapes in your city are safe or not?
Well, I don't know.
In Worcester, not one we checked was certified. In Somerville,
No.
4 more fire escapes,
Did it fall through the cracks? Yeah.
not one up-to-date certification, and again, no system for keeping track.
How can they get away with that?
I guess that the shortest answer of all is because we don't have the resources to sit here and follow up on these things.
If structural deficiencies are reported, local building inspectors can actually evacuate residents until repairs are made.
Would you talk to us on camera about this? No?
But when we surveyed 24 more communities, most admitted they had no idea how many fire escapes were certified. In Taunton, inspectors told us they haven't seen a certification in 25 years. Northampton officials said it's a cold day in hell when that happens. In Cambridge, too, not one of our test buildings was certified, and the official in charge would not come out to discuss it. In Boston, where there are more than 8,000 fire escapes, again, according to inspectional services, not one we checked was certified. Officials know they are required to enforce the building code, but they admit they don't always know if owners are breaking the law.
The building code is being ignored.
Right, but it's difficult to write a violation when you don't have knowledge of something like that.
But state officials say for a critical issue like this, communities should know. And they warn the Massachusetts building code is not optional.
Does it worry you that these fire escapes are not being certified?
This is an important issue and should not be ignored.
That's because after the smoke and flames begin, it'll be too late to learn you've got no way out.
I can't stress it enough, Hank, that these things have to be maintained and someone's got to be watching.
As a result of our investigation, state officials will now issue an alert to local inspectors. Meanwhile, if there's a fire escape on your home or office, you can contact your local building department to make sure it's properly certified. In the newsroom, I'm Hank Philippi Ryan.